as always, for my parents, blessed to have them as my parents, and your children and grandchildren are blessed to have you. Even on the days you may not feel like they're expressing it to you, I'm going to express it on their behalf. They are blessed to have you. In fact, I think you have a generational role, not just to pass on your faith. It's Joshua who says this: "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
Yeah.
And your generational line has that in it. You might look at some of your children and think, well, they're not really walking with the Lord, and the grandchildren, I don't have an opportunity to share with them. And I wanted to give you an encouragement as we go into prayer, because I think one of the biggest themes that's come out of this episode, this forum on being stretched, is the importance of prayer. We serve a God who hears and answers prayer. And if we're being stretched, it's an opportunity. It's often because things aren't going in the way we see would be God's best, perhaps, but it's an opportunity for us to dig into God and say, Lord, you come and build your kingdom in my family. Come and do what only you can do. There's a comedian called Russell Brand. Many of you, I guess, will be familiar with him. Not necessarily the first person you'd think of to turn to for parenting or grandparenting advice. He certainly lived a wild and flagrant life, and he was very involved in the New Age and promoting meditation and all kinds of other things. Recently, he gave his life to the Lord. He was baptized by Bear Grylls, who some of you may know again. And if all these names are foreign to you, they're just famous people on the public sphere. I'll leave it at that. But I want you to listen to a conversation that he had not so long ago, and notice that he mentions in his conversion story, as a kind of passing background feature of his life, his grandparents, both his grandmothers he talks about. It's just a fleeting sentence that he gives as he's talking about his journey to the Lord. I'm going to play maybe a minute and a half or so, I think, of this clip. But I want you to pick out that the grandparents were busy just serving the Lord. They were busy loving the word. They were busy praying, and they must have been tearing their hair out at this grandchild, Russell, who in the very public domain was doing everything that was totally away from the Lord. But the Lord stepped into his life. And so take a little look at this, he says. Where is it? Yeah, let's watch this together.
Just a thing I've been thinking about. Anyway, like when I was put in that water, you know, they baptized me backwards, and I came out there and I sort of felt the Holy Spirit, although, you know, given what's in that water, it could have been E. coli. Something was happening. So there was never a deliberate choice. Christ chooses us. We have been chosen. I wish I had known earlier. I wish I hadn't thought that I was too clever for the religion of my grandmothers. I thought that I was too smart. I thought somehow that I knew what was in the Bible even without reading it. I thought, oh, yeah, I get the idea, you know, angels, Jesus. Reading it, it's blowing my mind on a daily basis. I can't believe the profundity, the depth, the incredible beauty, the deep truth available to all of us. And I know there are many ways of receiving the Lord's truth and the Lord's wisdom, but it's transforming me very quickly. I didn't make a choice, Tucker, and I mentioned the way that you operate as well, that there is a kind of surrender. I'm not saying that I am without shame. I'm not saying that I'm without fear. I'm not saying that at points I don't feel compromised and uncertain. I'm saying that since being baptized, since becoming Christian, since surrendering to him, I feel his presence continually. I feel it now. I feel it in this moment. And I feel free.
I don't know whether his I'm guessing his grandparents
Thanks
aren't
for watching our YouTube channel.
about to hear that.
Subscribe to it.
I'm guessing they're not they've not seen the fruit here on earth in their time. But the Lord's really done something. And did you pick up the kind of casual mention of his grandparents? You guys are the backdrop to your grandchildren's lives. They're watching you, they're listening to you, and your prayers really are having an impact on them. And it might be you're here and you're saying, well, we don't particularly feel stretched. I love that we seem to have had two levels of praying for our grandchildren. One is the kind of the immediate need. Lord, help them get through this teething season and not be in pain. Lord, help them to make friends as they start school. Lord, that kind of in the moment need, but also that zoomed out version of, Lord, help them to walk with you and have the character of Christ. Let them grow in knowledge and discover you more and more and more. So we have the privilege of praying on both these levels. And I also love one more thing that's come out from today's session is that relationship with our children matters.
Yes.
It's not just the grandchildren we're going after. It's our children who we love, we've invested in and given and sacrificed much for them along the way, that actually that journey still continues wherever they're at. So I would love to send us for about 10 minutes back into those small groups and give you a chance to pray together. If there's specific things you want to share, feel free to do that. But to pray both on the kind of immediate needs, but also the zoomed out needs and the grandchildren needs. So we're going to place you into groups. You might be in a slightly different group from the one you were in before, but that's okay. You're going to meet more people, and we're going to send you to those groups now. And then we'll come back in about, well, it'll be 9.5 minutes time just to close things up. Okay.